Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a brand new, but straightforward ProPresenter show using the assets that you already have on hand. Honestly, it could be a little overwhelming if you have a worship night or a graduation or a funeral or just plenty of other non-weekend events that you have to create ProPresenter content from. But doing that from nothing can be a little overwhelming. So I'm going to show you two ways of how to approach that. One being for your actual auditorium, using the looks and the assets that you already have that are from the weekend gatherings. And then I'm also going to show you one on a laptop. So something that is not tied to an auditorium at all, and show you how to build that from scratch. All right, so here we are, and we have ProPresenter open. This is in the Clark Summit Auditorium, and I'm going to show you how to create a show based on the assets that we already have. So before we do that, one of the most important things is choosing the right look. And audience looks dictate how the content is displayed on screens, and so choosing that is super important to making sure that it shows up the way that you want it to. So we typically have a wide number of different looks. So if I'm going to go to screens and edit looks, we can see all the looks that we have here. My recommendation is using message for any content that is going to be displayed on all the screens. And then for any lyrics for a song, you're going to want to use normal lyrics. If you have a sides only or a center only lyrics audience look, you can use those if you want. I would recommend just using the normal lyrics just to make your life a little bit easier. So now that we know that, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a brand new playlist. So up here, we hit add playlist, and I'm just going to call this event. And so now by doing this, we are removing everything from any altercations that are going to be happening on this main playlist. You don't have to worry about it for the weekends because we are starting from a brand new playlist. So the first thing that you're going to do is decide what you actually want to show. So in the event that you have a song or multiple songs, I'm going to show you what exactly you need to do to get those on screen. So what I would recommend first, before you do anything, is check your existing lyrics library to see if you already have that song. So you can go to your lyrics library here and scroll through all of these. However, if you know the exact name of the song, which I'm sure you do, you can hit search, and then you can search it within that library. So let's just say that I want to do Another in the Fire. So I can click on this, and I can click and drag this right into my event playlist. And so now I already have all the jump backs that I could possibly want and all the lyrics that I need, and I can make edits as needed. In the event that you want to add a song that you don't have, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to add a presentation. So if we go back up here, we're going to go to New Presentation, and I'm going to call that Song 1. I'm not going to touch my theme or my size. I'm going to put it in my lyrics library, and then I'm going to put it in my event playlist. I'm going to hit New. So this is essentially the same thing as Another in the Fire. It's just a different song. Both of those are considered presentations. So on Song 1, what I'm going to do is, let's just say that I want to add a jump back, and I need to add the cues to make it display properly. So the easiest thing that you could do is go back to your lyrics and go through these songs and find a song that has a jump back that you want to use. Not all of them are going to have jump backs as they are properly deleted from your computer. You won't see them here. But if you go through and you find one that you like, then you can add that to your playlist. So I'm just going to grab the one from Another in the Fire. I'm not going to move this out. I'm just going to right-click, and I'm going to copy this whole thing. So this will include all the necessary cues that you're going to need to display properly. So I'm going to go to Song 1, and I'm going to paste it in here. And then from here on, as long as you click on this, it'll display exactly how you want it to. In the event that you don't have one that you like and you want to completely build it from scratch, what I would recommend doing is add action, audience look, normal lyrics. And then we're going to go in and add another action. This is going to be your stage display. And so to make sure it shows up on confidence, we're going to hit walk in, worship, and message. And then those are the big ones that you need for it to function. You can add some other things as well, but those are the ones that we're going to add today. And then if you have a jump back or a piece of content, you can drop it directly on top of this slide, and then you're good to go. After that, you'll need to actually add the lyrics themselves. So what I would recommend doing is adding a blank slide to this. So I'm going to go down here, and all the way up at the top here is, not that one, sorry, my fault. Add new blank slide. Sorry, I had a lapse of brain function there. So now I have a brand new blank slide here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Edit Slide, and you'll see that there's already a text box here that you can add your lyrics to. So once you add that text, whatever that may be, you can go back to Show, and they're super small, so you can go in the Edit Slide option and go and edit the size of those. I'd recommend doing something quite large so that you can see it properly. It's not how it's going to show up on screens. It's just going to show up on your preview window here. So that will make a difference for the person running graphics for you. And then once you get the lyrics that you want and the format that you want, then all you have to do is copy and paste. And so you can copy a bunch of those, and as long as you get to this audience look first, right here, the normal worship, then when you move forward, it'll be what it is supposed to be on screens, just like on a regular weekend. So you can do that for as many lyrics as you need, or as little as you need, but that is how to create a song from scratch. Now, the second thing that I'm going to show you is how to build some looping content. This is super helpful if you have a funeral or a graduation and there's a slideshow of photos that you want to display. I'm going to show you how to do that super easily. So I'm going to go to my weekend gathering, and I am going to steal this trigger slide right here. So this is the quickest possible way that you could do this. And you can copy that and jump down to a brand new playlist or a presentation that we're going to create here. So I'm going to add my presentation, and we'll just call that loop. And we'll leave it in the specific content, and we'll go to event. All right, so there we go. So I'm going to paste my trigger slide that I've stolen from that initial slide loop. And this has a 15-minute timer built in. It has the audience looks that is needed. It has some stuff to display on center as well. And you can feel free to use that. You'll just have to swap out the music to whatever you need to. And so what you can do is right-click, remove actions, and then we can remove this MP3 track. And then we can go to a funeral playlist or whatever track you want, and you can click and drag that right on top. And so you'll have to, we're getting a little alert here because this doesn't actually exist in the computer right now. But if you're just dragging it from your documents, that'll be perfectly fine. So that is one way that you can do that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to create a brand new one from scratch for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to steal some V&O content, and I'm going to show you how to build them from scratch. So we're going to loop. And so here you're actually going to need to add a brand new slide, and then we're going to paste that in. And maybe I'll grab one more just so I can show you some looping. We'll grab this guy here. Okay, so now we have two photos. And so now I'm going to show you how to create a really simple loop. You can build one from scratch, or you can try the trigger slide, but honestly, this is a pretty easy way of doing it as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize this feature here, and it's the slideshow feature. Now, when I click on that, I'm going to determine how long each of these slides are going to display, so I'll do 5 seconds. So as soon as I start this up, I'll clear all first. Okay, so now you can see that it is advancing 5 seconds, and then it's going to skip to the next one. And you can do this with as many photos as you can possibly fit in here, and they'll just loop back and forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a trigger slide manually. So I have this blank slide here, and I'm going to add action. I'm going to go to audience look, And the one that I would suggest is using walk-in loop. And so now I know that this audience look is going to display properly. And then once it advances forward, it's going to scroll through, and then it'll scroll back to the very beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually disable this slide, and I can click on this to actually start the loop, and then we can go through. But when it circles back around, it's going to skip this entirely. And so to make this a true trigger slide, what we're going to do is add a go to next timer. And then I'm going to put this as 0. And basically what I'm saying is I want this slide to display for 0 seconds before skipping to the next one. So when I click on this, instantly goes to the next one, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So then as it scrolls through and it gets to the full 5 seconds, it's going to loop back around, and it is going to skip this trigger slide entirely. So what's really nice about this trigger slide here is, like I said, you can add in an MP3 or any other content that you feel like you want to add. And then once you click on that, you click on it once, and then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the time. And so that is a super easy way to create a loop function. Everything else is pretty straightforward. If you wanted to add another presentation and add a video, you can definitely do that. You can actually go back to weekend gatherings if you'd like, and go to the message and just grab this whole thing and copy and paste. That way you know that it's actually going to function the way that you want it to. So I'm just going to drop it here on the end of this just to show you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, and I'm going to remove the content that is clearly there right now. And so now I have a perfect spot to just drop a video in, and I know that all my cues are going to be correct walking forward through that. So that is how to set up a ProPresenter show based on the things that you already have. So now we're going to jump over to the laptop. All right, so here we are on my personal laptop. I have ProPresenter installed, and nothing from the Auditorium is in this machine. So I'm going to show you how to set it up from scratch with the least amount of work possible. So the first thing we're going to do is build a new playlist. So you already know how to do this, but we're going to add one, just call it event, and then you are good to start adding your content. So at this point, if you have lyrics that you want to show on screen, there's a couple ways to do that. We can create a new presentation like we did before and build it from scratch. Or what you can do is you can export it from your Auditorium computer if you have it in there, and then drop it in here just like we would do with the bundles. So if you're not sure how to do that, I'm going to create a quick presentation here and just call it a song. And then if this is your song from your Auditorium computer, all you need to do is right-click, export as bundle, and then you can put this wherever the heck you want and call it whatever you want. That way when you export it, you can just bring it over on a flash drive or something like that, and then you can drag it right in and load it just like you would a normal weekend bundle. So I have a few of those that I'm going to grab. I'm going to grab We Praise You, and I'm going to just drag it right in, and then it will populate. So again, this is from my archive on my my lyrics library from my Auditorium computer. And so we have all the lyrics that we could possibly want there, just in a very different font than we're using right now. So in this case, you can see that there's no jump back. If you'd like a jump back, you can grab one and drop it right on top. Or if you're outside, oftentimes it's best to not use a jump back just so people can see the lyrics even easier. And so in that case, we can just completely delete this. You'll also notice that we are deleting all the cues that are on there as well. There is usually just one audience look that's just built in to ProPresenter, and that's all you really need as long as everything's checked, because there's only going to be one screen, presumably. So whether that's a TV or a projector or whatever you want to do, it's only displaying in one way. It's just going out once. So super easy. So I'm not even going to apply an audience look here, and you can see that it shows up in the output screen there. So in the event that you want to change the font, which I would recommend editing that yourself, it's super easy. So it's all going to be a theme. And so theme can mean a lot of different things, but most of the time we use it for lyrics. And so what you can do very easily is you can go down and pick one of the pre-made ones that comes with ProPresenter. So it has lyric styles here. And so you can see there's a bunch of them there. So I'm just going to grab Avenir full page. And then you can see that when I selected that, nothing changed. So what we need to do is I'm going to hold Command and click on that. And then I'm going to go all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to hold Shift and select every single one of those. So now I'm going to go to Theme, into Avenir full page. And when I click on it, it changes the font. So let's just say it does look like this, and oh man, that's a little bit too small. So I'm going to go in and edit this theme. So I'm going to edit the theme here. I'm going to find the one that I was using. I'm going to do full page, Avenir full page. So I'm going to select the text box. And so now I can go to text, and I can make it a lot bigger. I can make it bold. And then I can change the font as well to whatever the heck I want to. So what I would recommend is finding one that is super legible from a distance, because that will help a lot of people see it a little bit easier. And then, again, you can adjust the size to whatever makes the most sense. If it's already connected and outputting content to a screen, you can hit Show, and then it'll show you in live time what that looks like. So I don't have that yet. So I'm going to go back to Show, and then I'm going to select all my lyrics again, and then I'm going to go to Theme, and then I'm going to pick my new font that I just created. Now, when I click on it, it is a lot more legible, it's a little bit bigger, and then I can make those adjustments as needed. So you can do that with a pre-made bundle you're grabbing from your Auditorium computer, or from one that you've built completely from scratch. So that takes care of lyrics. So if you have another piece of content that you want to show, a photo or video or whatever that may be, you already know how to make a slide loop, and you can create a brand new presentation and drop whatever content you'd like into those slides. All right, so now that we have our show built, we actually need to make sure that it is outputting correctly to the TV or the projector or whatever the heck we are displaying on. So I'm going to go up to Screens, and I'm going to show you how to configure your screens. So when I go to Configure Screens, you can see that there's Audience and Stage. You don't have to worry about Stage unless you're doing a confidence monitor, but Audience is the main one that you'll need. So what you're going to want to do is, as long as your display is connected, which mine right now is connected, you can go down to Output, and then this is my external monitor, so I'm going to click on that. And so now it knows what it's looking for, and I'm going to make sure that the output target is on full, so it's a full screen view, and the size is looking good. And then all I have to do is enable this, and you should see this little light go green, and you should see your screen change to reflect the changes that you've made. So I am actively seeing that on my external monitor right now, and so I know that that is properly outputting correctly. And so that's all you need to do. You can have multiple screens if you'd like, but adding screens will just make the audience look, be required, but it'll also make it a little more complicated, so I'd recommend using just the one screen for your audience. So that's about it. Using the things that I just showed you in this video, you should be able to create a pretty straightforward but really good-looking ProPresenter show that's great for low production need events. There are a ton of other things that you can do to really fine-tune your show and do some crazy things, but those are way more in depth, and that's beyond the scope of this video. But if that's something that interests you, go ahead and check out some of the other videos that are on our channel. Those will be under the ProPresenter playlist. And don't be afraid to get creative with your shows. If you need anything from the central production team, please feel free to submit a help hub or reach out to one of us individually. Super excited to see what you guys can do with ProPresenter and make some great events happen outside or in your auditorium. Thanks for watching the video.